You're checking the boxes. You're getting things done. You're handling responsibilities. But somewhere along the way, you don't really feel much anymore. Not joy, not rest, not excitement, just pressure, performance, exhaustion, and the constant feeling that if you slow down, everything might fall apart. Today, we're talking about perfectionism, overachievement, burnout, emotional numbness, and why so many high performers slowly disconnect from themselves while trying to hold everything together. But more importantly, we're talking about how to succeed without losing yourself in the process. Welcome back to Delay the Binge. I'm your host, Pam Dwyer, and this podcast explores the emotional patterns behind burnout, stress-driven habits, quiet depletion, emotional exhaustion, you name it, and the powerful moment between impulse and action where real change begins. Today's guest is Erika Coleman, speaker, consultant, recovering overachiever, and the creator of the concept, even achieving, the science-backed art of balancing stress with success. After building $1 million training company while caring for her mother during cancer, Erika experienced a burnout so severe it left her non-functional. She chose to deeply study what had happened to her, eventually earning a master's degree from Harvard University focused on stress, high performance, and well-being. Her TEDx talk on overachievement and sustainable success has now reached more than 100,000 views, y'all, and received an honorable mention at the 2026 Cicero Awards. Erika, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, before we dive into all of this, which I'm so excited about, I just want to say how much your message resonated with me because I think so many people are quietly living this way right now, constantly functioning, producing, carrying, and yet underneath it all, they're exhausted. So I'm genuinely excited for this conversation. Oh, it's going to be great. First, I'd love to know, when you look at the work you do today, what part of it feels most personal to you now?
Okay. Great question. I would say I have built out a champion level framework, and it honestly is a way to tribute my mom. And that's why it feels personal. Now, what's cool is if you listen to any of my stories, losing my mom, like anyone would expect, is really tough to say goodbye to a parent. My mom was also like freaking phenomenal. She was a great sports, like literally there wasn't a sport she wasn't good at. She discovered the Senior Olympics when she was older and realized that she could apply to any of the sports there, including all the men's ones. And she won gold in anything she tried. Like at her funeral, we found a gold medal for men's bowling. And my sister held it up and she's like, does mom even bowl? Like, I don't know. And so
Wow.
I studied high performance and I studied wellness and all this stuff and leadership at Harvard. But when I was there, I kept noticing stuff my mom did well. And then I was like, okay, look, there's patterns in the science and my mom lived them. And so as I get to teach people about these sustainable champion level behaviors, I also every time get to feel close to my mom.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Yes, when you lose a parent, there's nothing quite like it. No matter what the relationship, I find is that,
Oh, for sure.
a parent is a parent, especially a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a specific moment where you realized something about the way you were achieving wasn't sustainable?
My body literally forced me to pay attention. So I wish I could say that I listened before I was forced, but no. When I remember I sent my last invoice. It was 2 months after losing my mom. And I was so proud of like how I had closed my business. I had checked off every box on my to-do list for the first time in my life. Cause I always have like the wish list to-do list and then the realistic to-do list. I did all of them. And I sat down and I was like, okay, well, now I can rest. I finally earned it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I couldn't stand. Like I tried to get up and I couldn't. And I still was doing the whole, I'm fine. It'll be fine. I'll just sit here for 15 minutes. I'll be fine. But then my daughter walked in. She was 5 years old at the time. She's holding a picture she had colored, and she was so proud of it. And I was too tired to smile. And that's when I finally went, I'm not fine. I'm not okay. And I didn't even feel sad because it was too tired. Like, sad was too tired to do. That took too much energy. So I just was completely numb. Everything felt like it had gone gray and colorless. And it took me getting to that extreme to finally be like, no, you can't actually push your way through this. You've got to do something differently. The behaviors you did before are not going to keep working.
Yeah. And we see that a lot on this show. We call it quiet depletion. Mm-hmm. But the statistic is 70% of women suffer from quiet depletion, meaning they're exhausted inside, but on the outside, they look perfectly fine. They're plowing through, doing all the things exceptionally well. But on the inside, they're not.
Oh, I love that, because I expected that as long as I was doing good stuff, I was going to be okay. Like, I was kind of like, this math problem in my head is you only get tired if you're doing the wrong things or bad things.
It's not
and
true.
So, yeah, exactly. I had to sit with this paradox of, you are so proud of how you cared for your mom, and you are so proud of how you ran your business, and you're so tired you cannot function. Like, they coexisted.
The ever elusive balance. I think as women, we have trouble with that because who else is going to do it if we don't?
Exactly.
And that's how I feel sometimes. It's not going to get done, so I just...
Exactly.
And we want to do it all. And a lot of times, I think women think that they can give 100% to the job, the career. They can give 100% to the kiddos and to their family and their home. And they can give 100% to social activities with friends. But you can't. That's what, 300%?
Like, we don't actually have that.
No, we don't have it to give.
It reminds me of some science where I finally started to kind of understand that. It's known as ego depletion theory. And the idea is that even small tasks, like little daily hassles, annoying things, if you get enough of them, they wear you out. So it's not just like, am I strong or not? It's really like, how many reps have I done today? How many lifts have I tried to do? No matter what, at the end of the day, you're tired. Period. It doesn't matter if you can, and sore. Like, if I have this huge bench press maximum, it doesn't matter. I can use 3 pounds and wear myself out. Mm-hmm. And we kind of have a tendency to miss that. We're just like, well, I didn't have anything really bad happen today, so I shouldn't be tired.
The 100% or nothing mentality.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I don't know if you struggle. I do. If I can't give it my all, I just don't even want to look at it.
That is the through line of my TEDx talk. You do not have to give your all to give your best.
Yes, and that's why I love that talk.
But do you know how hard it is to understand that difference? Because I think too often we think that my 100% effort, my all, is my best.
Yeah.
It's not. That's a bad metric. That's one of the big things I had to learn was, am I choosing effort as my metric for performance? Because objectively, that's a crappy metric. Like,
it really is.
Right? I would rather hit the performance objectives than the effort objectives. And that's a tricky thing to start to balance, because if you don't feel really great at a performance level, like, a lot of times we'll substitute, well, at least I tried hard. At least I tried my best. And so being able to understand, well, what is trying your best? And when is it okay to, like, you know what, baby, I don't have to be the one that's doing all the best here. Maybe I could pull in other sources of help or skills that can help me up or provide any other thing that could help make this easier. But we're like, no, then that's less effortful.
I can't wait to talk to you about something later on, but I think that a lot of times we struggle so much with perfectionism. And it's our expectation, our own personal expectation. Others have expectations of us, but I think we're the hardest on ourselves.
100%.
But a lot of times, who are we if we don't have this thing we're struggling with? And I think a lot of times people maybe subconsciously do it, or they are very aware of it, but without the struggle, who are they? Maybe there's fear there. I don't know, but
I teach about this in my workshops, and it is one of my favorite moments. I'd
Oh,
love
I
to
can't
share it
wait.
with you.
We're going to dive deep into that because that's just a recent discovery for me.
Okay, let's give you some science with it too then. I love when I'm teaching about even achieving because I give this beautiful idea, I can give my best today and not sacrifice my best tomorrow. That's kind of how I measure if my level of effort is right. As long as I'm not depleting from tomorrow, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
But when I tell people that, it's like, well, that sounds nice. What does that actually look like? And so we realize that it's not actually just understanding that stress is bad for you, like too much stress, because everybody already knows that. You don't have to actually tell them that. We all know. But we don't understand always, why is it that we convince ourselves to overextend? When does that happen? What are the factors involved to make that happen? And there were researchers at Harvard Business School who are actually dealing with those two questions. But theirs was in the world of negotiation. So they were trying to figure out, why is it that sometimes these super smart and successful business people will overbid on a deal? Meaning, technically they win, right? They got the thing, but they paid so much for it, that thing was never actually worth that amount of money. And it happens a lot. So they're like, why? They found out if 4 factors are present, you're up to 2 times more likely to overbid on whatever it is you're going after. So overpay for success. Does that sound familiar? Like I read that and I was like, uh-oh.
Oh man, it's just so eye-opening.
So the 4 factors, 3 of the 4, they're just baked into our life, especially for a high performer. The first one is a spotlight, meaning when somebody is watching us, we try harder. Okay, there's people in my life that are watching me, especially if I'm a mom. Like little people will call out all the moments I miss stuff. Then you have time pressure. So the closer you get to a deadline, the harder you push. Yeah, we've all lived that. That makes sense. Time investment. So the more time, energy, and effort I put into something, the less likely I am to walk away, even if walking away is smarter. It's known as sunk cost bias. That one we get a lot. Like, I've already put so much effort into this. I've gone so far. I may as well keep going. Cut that phrase from your life. It is a bad one. But it's the 4th factor that I teach the most, because the 4th factor is the one that got negotiators in the most trouble. It's the one that gets overachievers in the most trouble, and is the one you can actually control. So factor number 4 is the presence of a single rival. Now in negotiation, you're bidding against 8 other people, price goes too high, you go, too rich for my blood. But they noticed if you're bidding against just one other person, your objective changes. And it changes from, I want to get a good deal, to I want to win, is beat that guy. Yeah. Overachievers, how often do we become our own rival? It doesn't have to be an external rival. And what happens, what we do is we start saying things like, oh, I just have to push through this, or I can't let people down, or the other person's doing this, I should be able to do this, or even just some version of, I'm fine, it's fine, I'll be fine. That was me. It's fine, I'll be fine. What you do in that moment is you're introducing yourself as the rival to whatever you're trying to get done. You've started a bidding war with yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's so deep.
But that you think of that, if you're bidding against yourself and you win, did you win? No, you just overpaid on success. And it'll come at the cost of health, relationships, and sanity. And so that when you talk power of the pause, we sing it at my house because we have fans of K-pop Demon Hunters, but we just sing, don't be your rival, as much as we can. Because there's so many times where I'm like, are you pushing yourself right now because you're trying to prove to yourself you can do this? Because is that the best way to actually accomplish that task? You're not going to feel good at the end if you beat yourself, because you're both the winner and the loser there. Like, there is no enjoyment at the end of that.
You are so talking my language, because Delay the Binge is all about figuring out what's really going on. Why are you overworking, over-pleasing, over-stressing, over-scrolling, whatever it is you're doing to tune out what's really going on. And I think with work, overachieving is huge. And we're just trying to avoid something.
Yeah. You want to be seen as competent and capable. Like, there's a good root there. We
Yeah.
want to be seen as people who contribute, who you're not a leech to some degree, or even maybe you enjoy the process of achieving. Like, that's fantastic. You
Mhm.
can take it too far and become your own enemy in the process.
Those are the people that love the climb up the mountain, but when they get to the summit, they're not happy about
I'm
it
like, let's go
'cause they
back
like the
down now.
climb.
Check the box.
Next.
Exactly. Where's the next summit?
Well, do you think many people don't realize they're burned out because they never collapse like you did?
Yeah. I think that, well, I don't know, because I remember when I'd been working with my therapist post burnout for like 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Mhm.
And it took that long. And at one point she goes, "Oh, you're burned out." And I just looked at her, I was like, duh, isn't everybody? I just was like, and?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. Let's like clinically talk about what that means. And she finally was like telling me it's not a normal state of being. But to
Mhm.
me, because I'm one of those people who I love achievement,
Yeah.
I just thought that frenzy, that level of stress was just a byproduct of it. So duh, you push
Mhm.
until suddenly you've taken on too much and then you change jobs. And you have a fresh slate and you try again and not realizing in 3 years you're going to be in the exact same position again. Like, that's what
Mhm.
happened with me. I think the only reason I truly hit that state of non-function is because it was my own business. I couldn't quit and start somewhere new.
Yeah, it's gonna follow you wherever you go.
Yeah, I was like, oh crap, I'm the leader here. I can't be
I'm the
like,
bottom
sorry,
line.
I need to go try something else now. I was like, there are people that rely on me. I can't do that. So I just kept pushing and kept digging.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and not everybody has a competitive nature, but I have always maybe it's because I have 7 siblings, I don't know. But it's just I've always wanted to make this point. On the road when you're driving, why is it that everyone will risk everyone's lives to get in front of the line? Why is
Yeah. Why? And where are you
That's the
going?
mentality of it all,
Yeah.
of what we're talking about, is
Yeah.
that we wanna be first. We
Be
wanna
first.
be we don't want anything in our
Sometimes.
way.
Now, sometimes. Now, the science actually says there's like 4 main reasons that people go after achievement, and that be first is one of them.
Mhm.
But there's also sometimes it's, I just don't want to be last.
Yeah.
And you'll push hard sometimes just to not be last. And then there's this other side of, I don't want to let anybody down. Or I don't even
Mhm.
care if I'm doing well overall. As long as I'm being better than that guy, I'm fine, right? So we have both a relationship with other people in
Mhm.
achievement, or how we perceive our relationship to them, as well as our relationship with the tasks we're going after. So
Mhm.
for me, some of my folks that worked for me, and I love them so dearly, I pushed them to burn out with me because they didn't want to let me down. Like, these were gals that were workhorses. They did amazing stuff, but they didn't
Mhm.
necessarily do it because they loved the work. They did
Yeah.
it because they wanted to support me, especially when I was going through stuff with like my mom. And as a leader, that's a hard place to sit
Yes.
when you're like, oh no, I didn't even see it until we got to the end, and I like recognized the burnout in their faces too. And I was like, I drug you along with me. Thank you. That's not very nice. I'm sorry. But I didn't realize, because to me, I was like, well, if you don't love the task, you just walk away from it. And
Mm.
they're like, oh, no. We won't walk away from it because you matter to us.
Oh my gosh. What a team, though.
As a friend, as a
Mhm.
sister, like when I look at it from that perspective, I mean, part of it's great. Survival mode. My children are alive because I do feel responsible to them, right? So on the
Yeah.
worst days, I don't do something like walk away. But
God.
it is that piece too of sometimes, because I don't want to disappoint you,
Right.
I will become my own rival, right? I
Mhm.
start treating myself like, oh no, I might be the person that gets in the way of the love I feel for you. And therefore, I just have to keep loving
Yes.
without giving back that love. And that's,
My own kids had that talk with me. They're like, "Mom, we want you to live and see our children. We just worry that you're going so hard and striving for so many things, plus trying to keep us all happy. When are you gonna think of yourself? When are you gonna slow down? Because we worry about you."
What great kids.
Yeah.
They're the opposite of the giving tree boy. Like, we want to fertilize your roots, not turn you into a stump.
Yeah, because human nature is to take advantage of people like us.
Yeah.
Overachievers. You put whatever you put on my plate, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And they just keep putting more and more and more.
Yeah, because you keep rising to the occasion.
Yes. You can't take me out. But
I'm good.
you call yourself a recovering overachiever. I have a couple of questions on that because I've been to 8 years of therapy, probably.
Good for you.
Yay! Every therapist I've ever had has said to me, you are going to forever have these tendencies because of the way you grew up, because of the trauma. All we can really do, we can't make that go away. We can just give you coping skills. Like an alcoholic, they say once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So do you look at it like that with overachieving? Yes. Is it something you've got to constantly work at?
Yes, I'm a success addict. That one I took from Arthur Brooks. Yes, because again, as someone who loves the process of figuring things out,
mm-hmm.
I will feel a drive. Like if I get a project idea in my head, my husband's like, uh-oh, we're going to lose her. She's going to disappear for days. Like, where's the budget? I'm just like, I have had to, one, learn to recognize that as a craving, like anything else, where I go, I want to do that. And we have a new phrase we use at my house because I have a daughter who's very similar to that, where she's like, idea, it must happen now. Idea, it's a good idea, therefore it must happen right now. And we now say we don't have to move at the pace of our ideas. In fact, one of the good ways I vet our ideas is if it can stick around past that initial craving. Because I love this idea of I enjoy success. I enjoy finding my own standard for things, like serial student right here, serial honors student, let's be honest, where when I'm even turning in papers at Harvard, I don't just want to get an A on the paper. I want the TA or professor to say, wow, like that is the level of addict I am.
Yes.
I love how it makes me feel. I love the dopamine. I love achievement and excellence. And so I've also had to be like, okay, how do I start to enjoy beauty and meaning that I don't have control over? And that has also helped me kind of temper this, as well as, I do skills all the time, Pam. Just like you say, coping skills. I will meditate. I will do exercise, not for fitness, but for wellness, where I'm helping check my brain and keep things in and build out a social support network that calls me on my bad behaviors, just like any of those other networks would. But because it's not this, I'm not necessarily a workaholic, but I am someone who says, look, I have behaviors that are good, when taken too far, become harmful. That's the root of even achieving, by the way. It's not me. I no longer say, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I go, okay, no. I'm really good at sifting out the bad things. Now I say, this is a good thing. Am I taking it too far? Because a good thing too far becomes harmful to me.
Right. But you've surrounded yourself with people that are going to call you out on that love you enough, care about you enough. They're going to be like, you can't accept this, whatever it is.
Yes.
Or you can't do this thing because you're going to go overboard on it. So we're here to
be honest, though. If you tell me I can't directly, I'm like, oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Let me prove it to you. I can. So I actually have to also always be part of that process. I have a question I have built into my own schedule that I ask regularly, especially to my husband. At least once a month, I ask him, have I been present enough for you lately?
Oh, I love that.
And he has been given full permission to be honest. If I don't ask, I'm not usually ready to hear his answer. So I know I have to be the one to initiate that. And I know my natural tendency is if I'm in something I want to do, he doesn't exist anymore. Like,
right. Because you're an overachiever that is creative.
Exactly.
Yikes.
I'm not getting all these things. And then I'll look at him and be like, when is the last time we had a deep conversation? So I put those checks in knowing that because these good things can go too far and I don't want them to, because my husband matters to me and I want him to stay part of my life. I don't want to accidentally take advantage of him, that I ask him regularly. And my kids have seen it and picked up on it, which I appreciate, because they will also sometimes acknowledge it. My 7-year-old will walk up and be like, Mom,
Hello.
hi, I'm here. But I had to give permission. I think that's a really
Mhm.
important step.
I can relate to that a lot. I'm going to start doing that with my husband. It's been about 1.5 years since I've discovered my love for writing and for speaking on this whole Delay the Binge structure and system. And it feeds me, it fuels me. And he's like, honey, when's the last time we sat down and had a conversation? Just like you said. So I'm going to start asking him. I love that because I don't like to be told when I can do something or how much I can do
No,
it.
it does. That's how you initiate resistance. Go ahead and tell someone they don't have choice. They will prove to you they have choice.
I love that. Let's talk about this. And this is a big question that my therapist asked me because I am an overachiever. And they always ask me, do you think you do this unconsciously tie your worth to your achievement? And I said, I know what you're doing. I've been in this for 8 years. I know why you're
I
asking
recognize
me
this.
that. Let you lay on the couch. I know it. I know the drill. I tell them, and it's the truth. It's not for my self-worth. It's kind of like, I don't know what your faith is, but I think we all have one single strand of whatever higher power you believe in. Mine is God. So I think I have a strand, and that strand is just loving and doing for others. And everybody's always like, well, what do you want out of it? What's in it for you? I don't care if there's anything in it for me. I just want to make someone's life better because of my mistakes. Hopefully, even though my son told me, Mom, they're my mistakes to make.
Yeah.
Told me that once. But I just think that we have a strength or a desire or a calling, or we're led to do certain things. And it's not, if I fail at it, I fail at it. I don't feel like it involves my worth at all. Do you notice that a lot of people put their worth in their achievements?
So I love that when you bring up that question, almost every care-driven overachiever is like, no. When you get the one that wanted to be first in driving, they'll probably be like, sure, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe it is. But especially for the care-driven people, the meaning and purpose-driven in people, it's always like, in fact, not only does it not, I mean, it's tricky because you're like, well, maybe it does, but it's just because I want some version to prove that I am going towards what I think I love. It connects me to the divine. Because I do also believe that we have divinity in each of us that does reach us towards each other. We are not meant to be alone. And even if you're not religious, you can look at it from a scientific perspective and biological perspective. The reason the human race existed and survived is because we were able to collaborate in groups. We know that we are connected to each other. And so there is a real thread for each of us to say, how do I not let those that matter to me down? And if you're religious, sometimes it's like, how do I not let God down? And that's actually a huge driver for me. And that's part of why one of my well-being practices is prayer every morning, because I want to sit there and go, I need you to redirect me. Because I know often when it's just my head trying to prove to him that I'm headed the right direction, a lot of times I get off course. But if I'm letting him help correct me and be my GPS, I'm less likely to overdo. And we do have a scripture in my religion that mentions that all things should be done in order, and that it is not meet for man to run faster than he has strength.
Oh.
And so we go through this idea of, yes, I am supposed to become like God as best I can. It should be done in order, not all right now. I don't have to take it all right now. And in order for me to grow, I have to respect the fact that growth takes time. If I rush towards growth, I mean, I've gardened enough. If I try to rush a baby seedling into growing, it gets leggy and fries. I'm like, hello, that's burnout.
Yes.
You have to, or if you try to pull it to make it taller, you just pull it out. Like, you have to respect that growth takes time. And that's hard to do because we know I want to be at this standard. And before I get there, it feels like I'm failing. But is that true?
No.
No, because there's a becoming that happens while you grow. If I just jumped up to this standard, I would have missed the growth that happens to get there. So I love that you brought that up because I don't ever get to talk about that aspect.
I love that aspect.
For me, that's what drives me. Like, that is where I have learned to start saying, oh, I'm not supposed to be at the peak right now. Then I would have skipped the becoming. I'm supposed to be shifting and changing and growing. And that includes embracing all those moments where I do things wrong and I jump into overachieving again. And instead of just assuming, oh, I'm terrible, awful, I'm not the standard, I go, I slipped up. How do I keep growing?
Yes, I believe that. And for a long, long time, because I remember my son's 36 now, but when he was in third grade, he just started third grade and his teacher called me, said, I need to meet with you. I thought, oh no, what has Kyle done? And I went to the class and she says, I had to see you in person and meet you because when I asked the classroom yesterday, it was the day before, how do we learn? Your son raised his hand and said, by messing up.
I love it.
I
Gold star moment, Mom.
Maybe he does listen. I don't know. Selectively, but he does.
Yeah,
and that sunk in because he still lives his life like that. He's not afraid to try, and if he fails, he doesn't start over, though. He's a firm believer in starting where you left off.
Oh, I love that.
Because he doesn't want to waste all that effort.
Exactly. Well, and I begin to learn that I can't actually waste effort because that was one of my biggest fears as an overachiever is that you don't go backwards. Right? I'm like, I can fail spectacularly, but don't let me be meh and make me go backwards. So I've had to learn, can I actually go backwards? I can only go backwards if I choose to ignore whatever lessons I learned in said failure or said struggle or said suffering. As long as I look at those things and go, hey, that changed me and it changed me for the better, then I can't go backwards. No matter what my status says, no matter what my productivity or output says.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different feeling.
It sure is. For people that are aware, like you and I, it's really not easy, but we know to study and to look inside of ourselves to say, okay, why does this thing keep happening over and over and over? Let's study it.
Yep.
I want to tear it apart so I can fix it in a different way. But a lot of people aren't even aware that they have this issue and that they are exhausting, depleting themselves. All they know, a lot of times, they just don't feel anything. They don't feel joy. They don't feel sad. They just feel nothing.
Numb.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't understand that. They're like, I should be so grateful. I have a great life, great job, lots of money. I should be very thankful, but I don't feel that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've read Arthur Brooks' latest book, The Meaning of Life.
No, I haven't yet.
That's literally where he starts. So there will be my plug for anyone that wants to read it. But he argues very much that you can easily check all the boxes of what we think should make you happy and not feel it at all. Yep. He ties it to a rival fallacy. There's the fallacy that once I get there, then I will be happy. And it's a lie. It's a complete lie. And so instead of, but we're used to, if you look at our society, we build in this idea that when you hit your metrics, you're good. Like grading, performance reviews, getting hired, your resume, like all those things are built off of make it this external visual version, and then we will deem you worthy of whatever thing we want you to do. But when it comes to how you feel about yourself, those are terrible measures. That's another terrible metric where you have to start going, okay, how do I build meaning and purpose into my life despite what I do? It shouldn't be just based on my outward actions or outward motions. It should be on what fills my cup. And you're right. You have to spend a lot of time learning to build that awareness.
Yes.
I think that's the hardest part of any stress management. When I teach stress management, I'm like, guys, the hardest part of stress management is knowing when you've started to tip too far, either to overdoing something or underdoing something. Because you can go either way. That was what I also started with even achieving. I was like, I don't want to ever be an underperformer. So, okay, I don't think I'm worried about tipping to that side. Right. Although I struggled with that with burnout because I wasn't as capable. My capacity was reduced. Yeah. And I had that internal struggle of, am I now less than in some way because I can't produce it the same way? Yeah. And I'm grateful for it now because If I overdo now, I can recognize it quickly. It took me 2 full years to fully recover from burnout. And that was with me like doing a heavy, intensive type of recovery program where I had set it up with me and my therapist. And it was interesting because for the first year, if I even overextended a little bit, just a little bit, like pushed just a little extra hard on that project, stayed up just a little bit later, binged on food I knew wasn't good for me, it would take me like 4 days to feel functional again.
Yes. It's a process.
If you get to that point, you start to recognize, okay, this isn't good. And so now I'm much more protective of that line.
Yeah.
But it took 2 years of getting hit in the face with it before I realized it was a real line. Because old habits up to that point, decades of me going, you can just push a little bit longer. You can stay in here just a little bit further. And I learned how to stretch it gently without overdoing. But even then it was like, oh, I don't want to be an underperformer. And I was like, and now I see how dangerous overperforming is. So how do we even it out? Because I don't want to stop growing. I'm not willing to stay stagnant. And so learning how to stretch healthily has been a journey.
It is a journey.
I was working with my mentor. I was about a year into my master's program at Harvard. And I was complaining to her about several things. One, I was complaining that I felt so broken. And she was like, you're not allowed to say that. You're not broken. And then 2, I was complaining that everybody kept asking me what I was going to do with my degree when I was done. And at that point, I was still just drowning in all of it. And I was like, I hate that question. I hate it because there's no right way to answer it. And she looked at me and she says, the real thing I was dealing with was I was becoming overly focused on outcome, or as she phrased it, destination. She's like, you have destination thinking, where I have to reach my destination.
Yeah.
And she goes, we're trained. That's a SMART goal. Cool. Well, I was at a point in my life where for sure I didn't know the destination. And she goes, you don't actually have to. In fact, a far more fulfilling way to go about things is to simply pick your direction and then do tasks on a daily basis that move you in that direction. And what was cool is that's how not only I got through school and changing how I approached achievement, but I still see it now. It's opened up the possibilities of my destination.
Yes.
Whereas before, I'm on one track. It's my brain. It's what I can imagine. When I go direction, what's cool is, you know what? I thought I wanted that destination, but turns out this one right here is even better. But I had to kind of go into that daily basis of what moves me in the right direction today, right now, right here. That's how I got through burnout. I was like, how do I get through today? Well, I know I got to get up and move. I've got to give myself healthy food, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then as it got bigger, it's like, okay, now how do I move direction? Well, you have a new semester. What classes do you want to move you in the right direction? Okay, that's great. You're going to graduate from Harvard. Where are you going to go now direction-wise? Instead of, I'm going to have my 5-year plan and it's all mapped out. I went, no, I know I want to teach what I've learned. Let's go in that direction. And what's cool is still unfolding in front of me. And I don't have the same pressure. That's been what's coolest for me. The pressure is gone. Now I have this like groundedness where I'm like, I don't actually know where I'm going to end up. And that doesn't matter because I really am enjoying the walk.
Oh, see, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Before Delay the Binge, I had a podcast called The +1 Theory. And that's doing your best plus one more in small incremental steps, though, not a big bang.
A gentle stretch. We want gentle stretch. We want to grow.
Right. And I raised my kids on it. I just thought we have to teach people how to find that extra reserve that we all have inside of us to finish strong. Stronger than
I
we
used to
started.
call it, pull it from your toes. Pull it from your toes. I did theater. Pull it from your toes. You can find the energy.
I always had the visual of that woman, her child's under the car and the tires on top, and it's on top of her child, and she somehow lifts the car. Where does she find that strength, But she was just worried about getting
I was like, we can actually now do it. It's called adrenaline. And you don't want to charge your body like that often.
No. That's the fight or flight sort of thing. It's all the lower brain.
It is a superpower, but only for the exact emergency scenario. You only call on it when you have the saber-toothed tiger moment, not the regular everyday moment.
Well, and I tell people you've got to find what works for you, or you're not going to make changes, but make a good improvement on your life if you don't just try little things. I'll just try this today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try this today, because we are all smart. We all know we're educated, even with food, diet, exercise, all the things. We know what works and what doesn't, but we still do it every day. So we're not going to do it tomorrow, but we do. And so that's my question. Why?
If this is how I've done before, that's who I'm always going to be. Like, we know it works. We will always pick a more uncomfortable known. Like a bad known over an uncomfortable or unknown. So we want to make sure that we are consistently embracing the fact that I don't have to be perfect to go after something. A lot of time, analysis paralysis is a big part of that, especially if you're an overachiever. I call this dreamer mode. When I talk about my champion framework, I'm like, look, we have behaviors there's 3 behaviors a champion does. They're really good at cheering for things. They're really good at providing skills and resources when it's appropriate. And they're really good at calling things out. But they have to have all 3 of those in balance, because if you only have 1 or 2, you get a very different character than a champion. And so one of those characters is the dreamer. The dreamer is really good at the cheer and the call out piece, right? So when we're in dreamer mode, we're picturing that vision. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do. There's my call out. I know what I'm doing wrong. I can understand it rationally. I can see the big picture, but we tend to wait for it to be perfect before we start. And so that is where you take things like direction, and instead of saying, okay, I need to be doing all of this perfectly in order for it to be worth my time and effort, I have to go, what is one simple, imperfect action that moves me in the right direction today? And it's 15 minutes or less. I love timers, by the way, because I have to make it feel digestible. And so I'll be like to my kids, I'm like, okay, if you want to make this huge overhaul, fantastic, that's fine. You only get to research it for 15 minutes.
I have timers all over the house.
Right, I know. I have one of mine over here. It's like the one that looks like it's from Wizard of Oz. She's like, Dorothy. But I will do things like that to help myself break out of that analysis paralysis, that perfection point, because you're right. Rationally, we know what we need. Yeah. And as an overachiever, we have high quality standards. I don't want to do something messy.
Right.
So then I can make it a game. If I can call that out, I can say, okay, my game is, how do I do something messy in 15 minutes or less? Because I can always afford 15 minutes or less of messiness.
Yeah.
To get me started in trying. And then what's cool is usually once you get started, then it's like, oh, hey, that wasn't so bad. I can try it again. Or you can do some sort of tasks to get you moving, because that's momentum building that you're trying to do. When it feels overwhelming is when it gets stuck. So you have to make it feel less overwhelming. And you do that momentum building in small, messy things.
It's kind of like the junk drawer in the kitchen. And my husband, he will want to organize it by looking at one item at a time, taking it out. I just want to take the drawer and dump it out and put the drawer back in. And then I go through it like that, sort through it.
Oh, you're reminding me. So when my mom passed, I have 4 sisters. So there's 5 of us total. And she had jewelry. And we were like, we should sort through mom's jewelry, make sure so no one feels left out, who gets what. And I have one sister who's very, very thorough. And I love her, but she was doing that. She would like pick up one. Okay, everybody, what do you think of? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to take us 6 hours. And I was like, no. I was like, I understand you want to be thorough about those pieces. Let's be efficient about our energy here. I was like, who sees something immediately that they want? And then suddenly like half the pile is gone. And I'm like, anyone have problems with who took what? Let's negotiate. Like being able to move that along. And she was kind of like, okay, that's not how I would have done it. And I was like, that's true. We can then pick up whatever's left in the pile and be like, who wants this one? But I was like, let's start with momentum. Let's start with the easy yes here. What was funny is what was left over from the pile, none of us wanted. And we were like, great, let's let it go.
Well, that brings me to one of my questions for you. I love asking this with people that, are go-getters like you. So what do you think comes first, the action or motivation?
Okay, you just asked a social scientist that question.
I know.
Both.
Boom.
So my favorite study from my undergrad in social psychology was
Yeah.
the idea of, does attitude or behavior come first? And that's what you're asking. It's the chicken and the egg question
Yes.
of social science.
Yeah.
And the very famous study was, they had a group of students who took a test, an emotions test kind of thing, and they're your control group. And the other group takes the test and they have a pen in their mouth and they're told they cannot put their lips on it.
Oh.
It's a test of their motor skills. No, it's not. They were forcing them to fake a smile.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they're faking the smile. They take the test. Hands down, the kids faking the smile all rated themselves happier.
Wow.
So
Hmm.
don't wait for the motivation if you need to do it. Put the smile on your face if you have to.
Yes.
I had one friend, I loved it. She said, move a muscle, change a thought.
Ooh. I
Move a muscle,
love
change a
that.
thought. You get up, you move the muscle, you help change the thought, and often the motivation follows you.
It does. It does. And I'm a firm believer in that just from my own experiments. I hate to walk my 3 mile. I walk 3 miles every day. And no matter what the weather is, no matter what it is outside. And I do it and I absolutely hate it, Erica. And it takes everything I can. But I have to literally force myself to get up and dress and go. But then after I get started, I realize, oh, this is right. This is the right thing to do. I'll think clearly today and blah, 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 blah. All the reasons that's good for me to walk. But I don't think that way when I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go or not.
Oh, for sure.
And
I
so the
love
motivation-
initiation tasks. Like, this is something I pulled from the psychologists who do ADHD executive functioning training. They're always like, if you have an initiation task, that helps a lot with this task paralysis problem, where you can make the rule, I brush my teeth first thing in the morning. That's a favorite one. Or people who want to just lollygag, blah, blah. You pick an initiation task. Or you have things like shoes on, days on. What's my initiation task? So it's less of a eat the frog and eat the whole thing at once and make it huge. And instead you go, what is something that's make me feel like I started my day on purpose? What can I do it's small. It has to be small and it has to be kind of messy. That just gets you moving a muscle, changing a thought, and headed in the right direction.
Wow. Yeah, I heard a speech once, and it was a man just giving he was talking to a graduating class, and the first thing he said was, make your bed.
Yep, I love that one.
You know, that was so good. And
That's a great one.
wow. It was a good one.
I don't make my bed every morning, but I think of it when I walk past my bed. But you have different ones, right? And that's what the beauty of it all is like, if I were to tell you exactly what you're supposed to do, what do we learn? Resistance. I will then purposefully not do it because you told me to. So the joy of that discovery, that awareness piece, is start to say, okay, what does work for me? Can I get curious about this? All I know is that I need something small that gets me started. What does that look like for me? And test it out and try it out and let yourself fail and let yourself try again.
Yes, curiosity. That brings clarity. Being curious.
Think like a scientist. You make your hypothesis, you test it, you adjust it. Like, there is no failure in the scientific process. Even if it doesn't work, you're like, and I learned this doesn't work. Like, pull that in.
I'm so obsessed with the neuroscience of things because it really helps me with all my coping. If I understand like my brain wants patterns, good or bad, and it has all these old patterns that I've got to defeat.
That served you well for some reason or another and do not currently serve you, right? Like, there's also that piece too to say, hey, everything had a purpose at some point. It just doesn't mean it still has its purpose. And I have to be willing to tell myself that.
So I said we would talk a little more about this later. So why do so many people keep pushing even after their life stops feeling meaningful? Do you think some people are afraid to let go of overachievement because they don't know who the heck they are without it? We touched on that a little bit earlier.
From my story, yes. So I wrote an article, I think at the start of the year, where I was talking about when I was full-blown overachieving mode all the time, I kind of, without realizing it, pictured myself like a spinning top. As long as I'm moving, I won't fall over.
Yeah.
So I was always trying to keep momentum all the time, keep myself spinning. And then I did fall over. But I don't have to be a spinning top. I can actually have grounding. I can have more than just a tiny point. I can build out a base that's foundational. But to do that, I have to be willing to stop and build that foundation. And that is scary because we want to believe that the metrics we've been given work, even if they don't. We want to believe that they work. And so it is hard. You almost like are trying to prove yourself wrong, I think, a lot of the time. You're like, no. This should work. Like, this is what success looks like, isn't it? This should be working. Like, you're gaslighting yourself in the process. That's usually when I know I'm being my own rival. I'm gaslighting myself somehow to be like, this should work. I should want this.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable to sit with yourself and literally say, I want to be your champion and not your rival.
Sure.
And to do that, I have to love the ugly parts. I have to love the parts that don't measure up to what I want. I have to treat myself like I would my kid when he comes to me crying. Like when he comes to me genuinely sad, all the stuff that bugged me about him disappears, right? And I just go into the mode of, let me comfort you. I am so bad at comforting myself if I'm in achievement mode. Yes. And because I want comfort to simply be dopamine. Like my comfort is the ice cream that's in the fridge that I've hidden from everybody else.
Yes, that's where Delay the Binge comes in handy.
Exactly. But now being able to comfort myself and say things such as, hey, it's okay that you stopped today. Hey, guess what? Relax, not a failure. When you're resting, that's productive. When you do leisure well, you're rebuilding your stores. Like being able to cheer for myself because I told you about those modes. Manager mode was my favorite. Really good at calling things out. Really, really good at finding ways to get things done, providing extra skills and resources. The thing I stinked at the most was honestly celebrating myself. To pace myself in such a way that I can celebrate. I love that. That's become another one of those checkpoints where I talked to you about checkpoints. I ask about my presence. I now build checkpoints in my projects or my days. And I ask, how's my pace? Am I going at a pace where I'll have enough energy to celebrate? Yeah. And if I am, then I know this is sustainable. If I'm not, then I go, okay, time to change some things. That's okay. I'm not any less if I'm not doing this much. Like I do my own self-talk. But then the thing that's really important is to then not skip the celebration. Even if I'm pacing it, because then I'd be like, okay, well, I completed that. What's next? Yes. Instead, I complete it. It was a tip I learned from one of my favorite professors. She's a psychologist by trade, a professor at Harvard, and she would not let us end. I had 3 classes with her. She would not let us end the class, the last day of classes, without what she called termination. I call it adjournment because termination sounds like what your face just said, right? I'm like, what?
Sounds pretty severe.
But the idea is you don't end an experience unless you end it on purpose. And she would have us go through class and we would talk about our 3 favorite things and 3 things that were hard. And then we would create one line to describe our overall experience. It wasn't tough. Yeah. But it was so impactful. And I remember leaving that class being like, this is what closure feels like. Closure. No, I build closure into my everyday projects now, but I do it faster with a celebration where I just quickly go, I love that I did that. And what's really cool when you do something like that, the neuroscience of it means I'm also now feeding my motivation for the next time. So like your 3-mile walk, I'm going to challenge you right here. At the end, I want you to celebrate it in some way. Something small. It could be a phrase. It could be a happy dance. I don't care. What fits for you? And then see if maybe that over time compounds so that first thing in the morning lessens.
Yeah, because it's a battle,
and for sure.
And I just have to lay there visualizing myself trying to go to the grocery store with a walker.
I like it. I need to get something like that. My battle is feeding my children. I'm like, why do we have to eat so many times a day?
And usually something different, right?
Yeah, why are you all picky? But
when my grandchildren come over, I just put it all out. They can graze on it all day.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we call it ultimate Lunchables. But yeah, just whatever you guys can pick and choose. And
I'm going to celebrate tomorrow morning after our walk. I'm going to find a way to celebrate.
I want to hear how
that's teaching your brain a new pattern, right? Because
exactly
one realization I've had lately is sometimes people don't keep repeating their patterns because they enjoy them. They repeat them because the pattern once helped them survive something.
Oh, for sure.
Even if it's hurting them now, do you think achievement can become a kind of emotional safety mechanism for people?
100%. 100%, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that we can call out the fact your brain doesn't necessarily believe truth. It believes what you repeat.
Yes.
And so if you want to believe something different, you have to repeat it often till your brain believes it. And so that's part of why gratitude practices are so powerful. Because if you can practice saying, I am grateful that my knees made it on this 3-mile hike and I didn't need a walker, you're going to start suddenly caring about your knees in a different way. Not just, oh no, they're going to fail me at some point. And instead it's like, oh, thank you for showing up today. Thank you for doing these things today. But that's why things like yoga and meditation work so well in their practices, because you are practicing the behavior you want to become. Not just who I am right now. I want to practice the behavior I want to come. And achievement very much, right? Because I'm like, well, in the past, I got maybe rewarded from parents or teachers. Congratulations, you're a wonderful person. Yeah, that felt nice. I want it again.
Yeah.
But just like any other addiction, you need more of it to get the same hit. Unless you start changing your relationship with it. So now instead of me being like, I need you to validate this for me, I validate it for myself. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing that. Hey, cool. That was neat to see happen. And it was really scary at first, because at first I was like, no, that's me being arrogant. I don't want to be prideful. I don't do that. And then I realized I was being my own rival. I was like, oh. But if I were two people and I saw how I was behaving, I would want my coach or my mentor, my own champion, to be like, oh, you're doing so great. Congratulations. That was awesome. Why am I depriving myself of that? I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be making myself feel smaller. I don't need to parade it to everybody, but I do need to help myself believe it. And I do that by repeating it to myself, not for anyone else to see, just for me.
Yes. And for some people, patterns become familiar long before they realize it was hurting them. What are your thoughts? Do you think because familiar suffering often feels safer than unfamiliar peace?
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And so
that is backed by science everywhere. Like, yeah, it does. Uncertainty is one of the scariest things that you can actually go through. Like, there have been famous studies, for instance, where when you have someone that has been told they have pre-cancer signs, but they're going to do more tests to confirm if you have cancer or not, the waiting time between you might and confirmed is always ranked as more severe, more intense, more awful than even getting a cancer diagnosis.
Wow.
We hate uncertainty. We hate it. And some of the best, biggest, most important growth happens there.
It does.
If you also look at like the science between cooperation and cohesion, there are so many cool things that happen when you like genuinely connect to someone and you have a conversation where you're like in flow. They can scan your brain. Your brain starts firing almost like it's in sync with music.
Oh my God.
Like, we are meant to try to connect to others. We can do that through beauty. We do that through discussion and communication. We do it through the things that fulfill us, not just the things that complete. Like, I love how Arthur Brooks describes it. He says there's difference between deal friends and real friends. Deal friends are the people you talk to when you get stuff done. Real friends are people you can be completely unproductive with, for instance. If you only have deal friends in your life, you will feel a little bit empty inside. And you won't quite know why, because you think you checked the box. I have great friends. They're my coworkers. We talk great. We have a great time. If you hang out outside of work, they're probably just a deal friend.
Wow. I could like literally keep you here for hours.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, do we have to end? Because I don't think I want to.
No, you're just have all this knowledge. Looking back, what was burnout trying to teach you that achievement never could? What does enough mean to you now? What's enough? How does someone determine that?
That's hard because I think I needed to go through it to believe it. So it's not
Okay.
like something I can give you to do today.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
think that, yeah, I think the most powerful thing burnout taught me was how to actually rely on others. So I was very, very proud of my independence. Like a couple of months ago, we found some of my journals from high school, and I think independent was written every other page. I can't wait till I have my full independence at 18 years old. Like I was like, everyone else was holding me back. I was the person that always hated the group project because
yeah.
other people just hold you back. And even when I would be like in my leadership positions where I loved all my folks, I always still like kind of at least held myself back enough of like, if they all left me, I'm still going to be fine. Like I am proudly independent, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Losing capability taught me it's okay to not be an island.
Wow.
So my husband and I have never been closer, for instance. I didn't even realize I was probably still even doing that to him. Like, well, if someday if he died or divorced me, I'm going to be fine. Like I kind of was always like, what's plan B if someone leaves you?
Mm-hmm.
It scares me a little bit now to be like, I don't think I'd be okay if I lose him. And at the same time, if I kept myself apart from him in such a way, I would never know kind of that depth, and I wouldn't have let him rise to that occasion because he happily rose to the occasion of being able to help care for me. He said that
Mm-hmm.
few things made him feel more valuable and admirable. And I was holding that away from him because I was like, no, I don't need your help. I give help. I don't take help. I give it. And so I think that was the biggest thing. It forced me to accept it.
Yeah.
But also in learning to accept that, I invite more people to help me more often now because I see it less of me admitting I'm not up to whatever standard I chose. And instead of me, it's going, not only am I providing myself a skill and resource, which I consider a champion behavior by increasing my circle, but one of the most generous things I can do is give you the opportunity to also rise to whatever level of excellence I'm going after now.
Oh, that's so perfect. Just today, my newsletter that I post on LinkedIn was about why people feel failed asking for help. It's just ridiculous. And we could do a whole episode on that.
We could.
But it's true. And you allow the giver to feel, because it's like a superpower, right?
It is.
The receiver benefits and feels great, but also the giver feels great about themselves too.
Exactly.
It works. It's supposed to work that way.
Well, and I had to admit, I was probably being kind of selfish only being the giver. Well, yeah, I want the dopamine, but I don't want to give you the dopamine.
Right? That dopamine, man.
Well, that's an addictive substance.
And when you're quietly depleted, you'll do anything to get that dopamine.
Right. I think I gave even more the more and more tired I got. I just kept giving because I was like, I need to feel good about this. I need to feel good about this. I wish I'd asked for a little more help.
If someone listening feels trapped in perfectionism and performance and emotional exhaustion and all that, what do you hope they understand before we end today? What would you like for them to start trying to understand?
So I remember one of the pressures I felt in asking for help is that I basically I thought in order to ask for help, I need to be able to provide you the solution with whatever help you were going to give me. Basically. And then by the time I figured that out, I'm like, well, I don't actually need to ask you for help because now I have figured it out and I'm just going to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had been better at calling someone up and just saying, will you just come sit by me for a minute? I don't want to be productive. I don't want to tell you exactly what I need because I don't know what it is. I'm too tired to even think about what that is. But will you be okay with sitting me by for a minute while I'm ugly? Don't try to fix me. Just sit by me. There's a phrase one of my emotional intelligence professor taught me because I messed up a conversation pretty good, where someone had asked me for advice and I immediately started giving them advice and they did not like it and ended up hanging up on me. And I was like, what the crap? And she said, if someone comes to your advice, ask them instead, do you need to be heard, helped, or hugged?
I love that. I learned that in youth ministry.
It
You
is
got to
such a
ask
great
that.
one. But now I'm also saying I also need to ask for it. And so now instead of telling my husband, hey, I just need your help, I would be like, will you give me a hug? I need some comfort. Or I got to talk this out. Will you just hear me for a minute? I
Yeah.
never validated help and heard and hugged in the same way I validated fix it, helped. And I wish I had been better at asking people to sit by me while I was ugly.
That is so profound. I've learned so much. So my husband's going to love you.
I was just thinking, wow, I don't think I've said any of these things to anyone else. Good job. I love
oh
this
my
kind of
gosh.
discussion.
It's because we're relating so well. We're very similar in the way
We've lived this.
Now, I didn't go to no Harvard, but
you do
I
the
thought
work
about
and
it.
where it comes. Yeah, it's still an option. You can go the direction if you want.
I think one of the most powerful things from today's conversation is that exhaustion doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like functioning, performing, or producing, achieving, while quietly feeling disconnected from your own life underneath it all. And what I appreciate so much about you, Erika, and your work is that you help people redefine success in a way that allows them to remain whole while pursuing what matters most, or at least helping them figure out what matters most. Because maybe the goal isn't doing more. Maybe the goal is no longer abandoning ourselves in the process of it. So, Erika, can you tell everybody where they can connect with you and watch your TEDx talk and learn more about your work?
I love it. So ErikaColemanSpeaks.com is my main webpage. You can get to most things there. But I'll give you a link to this one as well. I have a free quiz if anyone wants to take it. I was talking about dreamer mode and achiever, all these different achiever modes. If you want to take that quiz and kind of get familiar with where do I tend to overuse strengths? Because we're not saying they're bad things. They're great things. But if I overdo them, they can also stress me out. I will give you a link to that as well. It's defaultachievermode.scoreapp.com. And I love being able to see people do that because you start thinking, oh, this is a hat. I put this hat on a lot and I take this one off. And when I have this hat on, I can give you one behavior that says, okay, if I do this type of a thing, I'll be more like a champion in this moment, which is what's going to give me that sustainable success. So I'd love to share that with you guys.
Wow. Listeners, listen up, because Erika's going to give us a shot of clarity with her questionnaire.
I love it. Let's do it.
So, yes, take the questionnaire. I'll make sure that it's listed in the show notes so we can all try it and maybe even compare.
Oh, I would love it.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, I even sometimes will retake it myself where I'll be like, okay, this is me in work mode. Which one shows up? This is me in home mode. This is me in play mode. Because we put on different hats for different things, not because we're different people, but because we like to adapt to our situations and what we need. And each one of them, though, we can be like, hey, you know what? If I showed up like this a little bit differently, would I feel more whole? I love that you described it that way.
Yeah. That's what I got from it all. I always like to share at the end what I understood and what I learned. One time a guest corrected me, no, that's not right.
Like, well, you thought that, but
no, that's what I got.
This is what I needed to hear today.
this podcast and stuff has been a lesson. Woo. But I'm telling you, so if today's episode resonated with you, be sure to subscribe to Delay the Binge on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And if the podcast has helped you in some way, I would be incredibly grateful if you leave a review, because those reviews genuinely help more people discover these conversations, especially people quietly struggling with burnout, emotional exhaustion, perfectionism, and hidden depletion. Y'all heard Erika mention becoming many times. It is important to realize what you're becoming. Remember, pause, choose, build momentum, finish stronger, and we'll see you next time on Delay the Binge. Thanks, Erika. Hey, it's me, Pam. And before we go, just a quick reminder. Everything we share here is meant to encourage, educate, and get you thinking. But it's not a substitute for professional mental health, medical, legal, financial, or any other licensed advice. I'm simply someone who's walking through life, learning right alongside you. And I'm grateful we get to learn together. Always seek the guidance of a qualified professional for your unique situation. Thanks for spending this time with us. Until next time, remember, sometimes the biggest change begins with one small pause. I'll see you on the next episode of Delay the Binge.